Cool. We will get going now the recording started. Thank you everyone for joining us today. So we're here to talk to you about the National Citizen Service and the support offer that we have this autumn, and to also talk to you about the work that we've done this summer, as well via our Keep Doing Good campaign. So just to introduce myself, my name is Charlotte Druitt. I'm the Community Engagement Manager across the East Midlands for the NCS Trust. So I look at how we can raise participation, become a really inclusive programme, and also source opportunities for our young people to take part in after NCS, so post-programme opportunities. And we also have Stephen on the line as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Stephen Douglas. I am one of the school engagement managers at the NCS Trust, and my role is a bit more sort of countrywide of supporting our local partner organisations, work with schools and colleges and support schools and colleges to be able to work with NCS and with our local partners up and down the country.
Fabulous. So we've put together this presentation today for you. So what we're going to cover in this webinar is what exactly is NCS. So it might be a refresher for some of you, or some completely new information for others. Talk to our COVID response as well, next steps, and we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A at the end, should anyone have any questions. So first of all, what is NCS? What are we talking about? What do we do? NCS is a youth programme that exists to engage, inspire, unite and empower young people. It's all about building confidence, giving them those soft skills, giving them chance for independent living, to achieve their dreams no matter where they're from or what their background is. So trying to achieve a really inclusive programme for all young people to engage with. We instill a sense of public service and citizenship through our programme, and inspire a lifelong commitment to doing good within their local communities and bringing people together from all types of backgrounds. We really do champion social action, and we really do champion young people supporting their local communities in what they're passionate in. So it's a very youth-led programme rather than us dictating what we expect young people to achieve through their social action. So we offer a 2 to 4 week residential programme for 16 and 17-year-olds. That's usually completed in their school holidays. So we work predominantly with year 11s and year 12s. We have an online self-serve digital resource for building skills for life and work. Ongoing social action, which is brand new for this year, through monthly local community action groups. They meet once a month, and they will do social action all year round to make sure that NCS is an all year round programme, not just for summer or autumn. And our programmes are delivered by a national network of organisations. So we have loads of delivery partners delivering locally within each area. If we go on to the next slide. Well, I think we've frozen a little bit. So the next slide, while it's loading, is all about our vision, mission and ambition. So our vision is to have a country of connected, confident and caring citizens where everyone feels at home. So bringing it back to that really inclusive programme and that inclusive nature. Our mission is to inspire generations of citizens through a shared experience that develops character and bridges social divides. We want to ensure that even though we have loads of delivery partners delivering locally, that we have a really kind of centralised offer, that each young person goes through certain core activities through NCS, so that if they meet someone in Liverpool and they are from Lincoln, then they have that shared experience of NCS, and it is quite similar to the experiences that they've both had. And our ambition is for NCS to become a normal part of growing up for all young citizens in the UK that impacts their lives beyond the programme. So we want to make sure that all young people have the chance to take part in NCS, and that they do take part in NCS, a bit like a rite of passage, and that all young people should take part in the programme. Our next slide shows kind of our trends and how we've grown. So we are the fastest UK youth programme, which is an amazing thing for us. And before the pandemic, we were almost at 100,000 NCS participants per year, which is roughly 1 in 6 young people taking part in the programme. But due to COVID, that's kind of wiped out this year, unfortunately for us, but we have managed to pull together some programs as well, which we'll share with you shortly. But this just shows the growth that we've had since 2011, when our first pilots went out. And you know, we've grown year on year, and we're getting more and more young people involved in the program. Our next slide is just a really nice infographic to show you quite visually kind of the impact we've had with young people. My favourite statistic is for every £1 spent on NCS, you get back £3.49 on benefits to society. And I think that's just incredible that young people are giving back to their communities and having that kind of monetary impact. And also 78% of participants felt more positive about people from different backgrounds. That's a huge thing for NCS, all about social mixing, meeting people from different backgrounds, people that you wouldn't necessarily meet in your schools or your local communities. And that's just a really powerful figure, 78%. I won't go through all of them. You can have a glance at them at your own leisure, but some really great statistics for NCS just there. And next slide. So our usual programme offer, so before COVID kind of came in and ruined our plans for this summer. And we have 2 seasons. We have our summer and our autumn programme. Our summer programme is for year 11s and year 12s. It's 4 weeks, part residential. So week 1 has a focus on social cohesion. It's an outward bound residential. It's all about team building, meeting your teams. It'll be people that you don't know. So it's all about social mixing again. And all about kind of meeting people from different backgrounds, while also challenging yourself with some of the high rope activities, Jacob's Ladder, all those kinds of things. Week 2, focusing on social mobility. Again, this is residential in a university style setting where young people have workshops. That could be about independent living, where they have to learn how to cook for themselves for the week. It could be from charities to understand their local communities and the issues that they are facing in their local communities. And basic like life skills. We have money workshops, all sorts of things to support those young people in that second week. And then the 3rd and 4th week is focused on social action. So young people design, develop and implement their own social action project. It's completely up to them. And we've had everything on NCS, nothing surprises us anymore. I always say to young people, my only 2 rules for social action are it has to be safe and it has to be legal. And you can kind of run for the stars with it. We've had some incredible stuff from garden renovations to social media campaigns. And we had a really nice one this summer, where young people put post-it notes around their city, just little notes to kind of brighten up people's days. And they had an Instagram post as well, and people were actually getting in touch with them to say, we saw your messages around the city and they were incredible, which is a really nice heartwarming project and very simple as well. We also have our autumn half-term programme, which is just for year 12s, and it focuses on social cohesion and mobility during residential activities over the half-term week, with social action as a follow-up. So they have 30 days to complete their 30 hours of social action. We also have our college partnership model, where NCS teams work with college staff during term time to complement the existing curriculum that they have with a residential experience. And those college model programs are really nice to bring together a new cohort of college students. And it's a really nice chance to really tailor the experience to those young people. And their social action project can be tailored to their course as well to give them some really nice experiences. And we are on target to support another 100,000 young people in 2020 until, drum roll, COVID. And this is where I hand over to Stephen to talk about how we have combated the challenges COVID has given us.
Brilliant. Thanks, Charlotte. Yes, when we were talking about this and said about what NCS normally does, and then the fact that our plans, like everyone else's plans, were massively affected this year, we were slightly worried that this was going to be perhaps the depressing point of the presentations, or saying about what all the problems were. But actually, like with every other branch of society, we were faced with COVID, and we've had to come up with a way of still being able to support the young people of the UK. So what we have done was, when lockdown was announced at the end of March and then started through the beginning of April, we realised that our residential programmes, our usual ways that we work with young people and work with schools and colleges, weren't going to be able to go ahead in the same way. But that didn't mean that we weren't going to be able to work with young people and work with communities and work with schools and colleges to be able to support them in a time where, quite frankly, lots of people need lots of support. So as Charlotte was saying, our usual model is 2 types of programme, either during the summer or during the autumn, depending on whether it's a BIGS or social mix part over the summer, the big 4-week programme, or one of the more targeted programmes with colleges or with other community groups in autumn. Realizing that those 2 things couldn't go ahead, what we did was split those up into a couple of achievable outcomes that would still help young people develop skills, that would still help communities have some form of social action and have some real impact on the lives of people up and down the country, but also to be able to support schools and colleges with what we knew was going to be a pretty tough September and being able to come back to school for this term. So our summer 2020 programme, we've basically split it into 2. We've created a programme called Keep Doing Good, which happened during the summer months, so during July and August, and that was very much based around the idea of getting enthusiastic young people who wanted to support their communities to come together and to do an action project in their local area that was going to have a real impact. And Charlotte's going to be able to talk a little bit more about that in a second, because she's seen a lot of the great examples of that have happened both nationally and locally. And the other thing we decided to do was, if Keep Doing Good was going to focus a large amount on social cohesion and social action, we didn't want young people to miss out on all of the great work that we do around social mobility. So we've basically pulled all of that stuff that we would normally do, that our network of NCS teams up and down the country would normally do to help young people with independent life skills, with planning for their future, with developing employability and careers progression ideas. And we've created then a package for schools and colleges where our network can go in to deliver those sessions as part of PSHE or as part of careers provision in a school or in a college. And that's our FE school support offer. What we've also done, now that the world is slightly more normal than it was during the summer, is our autumn programme is still going to go ahead. We're just without the residential component, with obviously a huge amount of safeguards in place to make sure that young people can be kept safe during this time. So we are still running an autumn programme. Some of those have happened already. They've started happening over the last couple of weeks, and they will run the whole way throughout this term, especially over half term and the whole way up until December. And again, we're really, really happy that there's so many young people who still want to take part in this. But we're even more happy that as an organisation, we've been able to put in all the appropriate protection to make sure that these types of activities can still go ahead and keep young people safe to be able to do so. So I'm going back to Charlotte, who's going to be able to tell you a little bit more about what we did with Keep Doing Good. So how we were still able to have some impact in local communities using young people right across the country.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. So yeah, as we mentioned, we had a programme called Keep Doing Good over the summer, which ran in July and August. Prior to this, we also had our Staying Connected platform, which was via our website. It was completely open. There was no sign-in, no logging in to this platform for all young people. And on there were things like blogs from our NCS graduates, tips and tricks for them to get through this COVID isolation period. And also some really great opportunities from our network, things like UK Parliament, to kind of start understanding about politics, and loads of resources that were completely free to young people to engage with. And then what we started to do was we started to move into Keep Doing Good, and we saw loads of local action projects, young people supporting their local communities, which was incredible to see that so many young people wanted to give back and they wanted to support their communities through this tumultuous time, so to speak. And then we also launched some national campaigns as well. So we did some work with the CRA, which is a charity retail association, to help them open back up their shops. And we also did our My First Pint, which was a partnership with the NHS to encourage young people that were eligible to get onto the blood donation register and get out there donating if they could. More locally, so in Lincolnshire, we had, and when it comes up, because I can't remember off the top of my head, and we had some great projects with the Lincoln City Foundation, and we had 85 young people complete the programme across the whole of Lincolnshire, and they gave around 2,550 hours of social action, so that's loads of support for their local communities. And their social action projects included a 100-kilometre run on the hottest day of the year, so I take my hat off to them. I struggle to run 1 mile in the heat. They supported the EFL Tackling Loneliness Together project, and they also supported the Move for Meals project, and that was with Lincoln City Foundation, which was absolutely incredible to see so many young people give so much time to their local community and the projects that they were supporting. So that's just kind of give you a snapshot of what happened within Lincolnshire this summer. I think I hand back over to Stephen.
Brilliant, thank you. And yeah, Charlotte said it's been brilliant to see what the young people have wanted to do in Lincolnshire to be able to support their communities. And when September came around, then it was sort of back over to us to see what we could do to support communities, and specifically supporting schools and colleges as they were coming back in September, knowing that there was a huge amount of stuff that schools needed in terms of support and the challenges that they were going to be facing. And we knew that if we were to draw a Venn diagram like what we have on the screen at the minute, if we were to look at what NCS usually does during a summer and what, from our conversations with schools and colleges in the wider education sector, what we knew the challenges were going to be, there was going to be an overlap. And that overlap then is our FE and school support offer. So we've looked to see what can we do to support schools and colleges throughout the whole of the term. So not just in September, but the whole way up through to 31st of December. What could we offer to schools and colleges that would make this next term a bit less of a challenge from what it would otherwise be? What we came up with then through, as I said, conversation with various people in the sector is coming up with our FE and school support offer, which is a 2 to 10 day offer that could be run either as full days or part days, run concurrently or not. That would be a blend of our traditional week 1, week 2 activities, meaning if you remember back a few slides, helping young people come together in new groups and learn from each other and build team building and a bit of a sort of a cohort ethos at that beginning part of September, but also independent life skills and preparing for their future and all the different activities that we would normally do during the summer, that we're happy to come into schools and colleges and deliver those, as I said, from anywhere between 2 to 10 days, and that could be broken up into part days as well. So it could be that you want that there's a team from one of our local NCS teams who is going to go in to deliver PSHE sessions once a week for the rest of the term to try to support your young people and support your teaching staff as well as they try to sort of cope with all the demands that are going on at the minute. We realised that putting together that offer and saying we are here to help and we can do this runs up against logistical challenges. Obviously, the way things are in the world, saying that we could have a team of people go into a school or college to run something raises challenges itself. So there are 3 ways that this could be delivered. Face-to-face from our local NCS teams. So the most impactful way is to have a group of people go into to run activities with young people. We know that that's not going to be possible in lots of places due to social distancing or due to policies on not having external visitors. So a backup to that is that those teams can still run the same types of activities remotely if that's what your school or your college is doing. So if you have Microsoft Teams or Zoom or anything like that, and you want some activities run remotely, then where our teams have got that set up, they're happy to deliver that remotely. And as a contingency, if that doesn't work due to timetabling, maybe as part of the academic catch-up that your school's doing this term, that it's really difficult to try to squeeze in maybe some of the extra enrichment and some of those career progression activities that you would have otherwise been doing, then, and you don't have time in your timetable to do that, being able to get resource packs made by ex-teachers at the NCS Trust. We have put together resources that could be shared with schools and colleges that could be delivered then by staff in your institution. And what those sort of packs are around, what those offers of face-to-face support are based around is what does NCS do well that we know that people are asking for out there in the community. And we've identified, in terms of that overlap in the Venn diagram, that there were about 7 core themes. They're all roughly related around personal development to different extents, and I'll share what those themes are in just a second. And just a reminder that this support is not just something that was going to happen in September, but we're extending it the whole way up until Christmas. So our teams and our resources are available there for the entirety of this term. One thing I haven't mentioned on there is that all of this is free. We've been funded by the government to support young people. Since we can't do it through our usual summer activities, that government funding is now being directed towards producing these resources and paying for our teams to go and support schools and colleges free of charge. So that's something hopefully for people to bear in mind as well. What are the themes that we've identified? Well, some of these, as you'll see from reading down the screen, are applicable at any point in the year. And some of them are definitely more applicable in September and October as young people are getting back into some form of routine. So we realized that there was a need for supporting young people coming back after their COVID experiences, being able to learn to socialize again, mix with new people, perhaps if they're year 12s and they're with a brand new bunch of other students who they want to get to meet, that having some support in running activities that would support that, it might be something that would be of benefit. There are some things that fit in at any point in the school year. So whether that's citizenship and British values, whether it's support around health and well-being, whether it's careers and progression guidance, employability skills or skills for independent living, there's a whole variety of different things on there that we're able to support with. And we will tailor that to whatever the needs of the young people are in any particular institution. So if you have a very academic group of young people who are working hard to catch up on work that they missed out on in GCSEs and A-level, and you want support in getting them to think about university and next steps, we can tailor it towards them. If you're working with a group of apprentices and you'd like tailored along how do you actually get onto that apprenticeship pathway, we could definitely sort of adapt our resources to be able to support you with that. And as I said, our autumn programme is still going ahead, not as normal, with some key changes in terms of removing the residential component and making sure that everything is COVID secure. But we are working with the National Youth Agency to make sure that the guidance that they've put together in terms of keeping young people safe when they're doing youth action is also, it's the guidance that we're following to make sure that we're following the best guidance that there is for that. Just to let people know that in terms of some of the queries we've had about autumn, that whether the rule of 6 applies in terms of youth sector activities, there is an exemption from that rule of 6, and in this case, where those exemptions are applicable, that will cover us, so that the work that we're doing to support young people can still go ahead. Where it can't, in terms of places where there are perhaps more severe restrictions or lockdowns and people are not allowed to mix in any way, shape or form, we are also looking at being able to deliver some of these remotely as well, so people can still have an experience to do with NCS, even if it isn't our usual programme. Year 12 students can sign up for our Lincolnshire-wide programme. They can go to wearencs.com/autumn. But if you're interested in having one of the individual personalised programmes to a sixth form or a college, that can be organised by contacting your local NCS team. And we've got some contact details about that coming up. So what are our next steps? We've spoken a lot about what NCS normally does and what NCS has had to do this year, because obviously things have been very, very different. But in terms of where our relationship with schools and colleges in Lincolnshire will be going over the next few months, we are really, really keen to support in the best way that we can. If that's supporting young people by running their programs, or supporting schools and colleges by running support sessions or providing them with resources, we are basically here today to say that we're happy to help in whatever way we can, and we'd be really keen on sort of getting some feedback from people about what they would like support with, and if there's anything that we can do to help. We've been working with a variety of schools and colleges up and down the country already on some of this. We've had some really great feedback about basically how adaptable we've been trying to be, realizing that the circumstances in one school or college are going to be very, very different to another, that the challenges faced by young people in one community might be very different to those in a community just down the road, and therefore being adaptable and being flexible to try and support them has been a big, big feature of our summer. So far, we've worked with over 100 schools and colleges since the beginning of September to run support sessions or to share support resources with them. That's helped around 40,000 young people. And that includes, for example, Queen Elizabeth School here in Lincolnshire. We've also been in touch with another 300 odd schools and colleges who'd be getting in touch with us. For example, Deepings be getting in touch to sort of to inquire about how we might be able to work with them in the future, and we'd be really, really keen on continuing those conversations with any interested school or college. And also important to bear in mind, it's not just with mainstream schools or colleges, we're also working with PRUs, we're working with SEND institutions, we're working with a variety of any organisation that works with young people. If there's a way we can support, we'd love to hear about it. Both the autumn activities, so our repurposed autumn programme, the general FE and school support can be booked through your local NCS team. In Lincolnshire, that's run by an organisation called Ingeus. So if you do have an NCS contact with an Ingeus email address, they're your person to talk to. If you don't know who your local contact is, then we've put the education inbox web email address on screen, so education@ncstrust.org.uk. I'm part of the education team at the Trust who looks after that inbox, and we'll be able to match you up then with our local NCS team who will be able then to talk to you about opportunities for your young people, but also opportunities for supporting schools and colleges throughout the rest of this term. And that's pretty much, I suppose, well, sort of the update from my point of view. Have I missed anything, Charlotte?
No, I think you've captured everything, Stephen, if I'm honest. There's nothing else from me.
Perfect. In which case, we are happy to take any questions that people have. And that could be general questions, or if you have specific questions about your own situation, your own circumstances, and you'd like us to follow up with that, we'd love to hear that as well.
Can I, it's Richard Hughes here, can I ask a question, which is just a little bit more about the careers strand? Obviously, that's the one we're possibly most interested in, and how flexible and responsive that would be to school requirements. Would you be prepared, for example, to enter into a discussion with the school about what that would look like?
Yes, absolutely. Great question. With all of those themes that I shared with, and as you said, obviously the careers progression is probably the most applicable to today. Depending on how it is delivered, there's greater or lesser amounts of flexibility. So for the resources that we've put together centrally at the Trust that we can share with you, they're completely editable. So we'd be happy to sort of share those with people if they're interested and have a look through them and say, well, that's useful. We could take that and we could run a career session with that. The resources that we put together can be run either as a 1 hour session or as 4 15-minute sessions. So they're also designed to slot into form time activities or tutorial activities that happen as well. If you are having face-to-face delivery or remote delivery, so if it's from one of our local NCS teams who's running that, then absolutely they will want to have a conversation with you beforehand to scope out what your needs are, what would be most useful for the particular backgrounds of the young people that you're working with, and are there any particular sort of focuses that there have been maybe in the term so far. If you've been doing a lot of work around particular opportunities in certain sectors, then speaking to our local team about that, they'll be able to use their expertise to build on that and to slot in with whatever your needs are. So yeah, we're really keen on making this adapted to particular circumstances. If it's face-to-face, there'll absolutely be a planning meeting beforehand just to check then what exact content you would like and what is available from our local teams. as well, but alternatively, if you just like the pack of resources to be used by staff yourselves, then they're completely editable and fairly flexible in terms of being able to, we're not expecting people just to take it and run with it, but pick the thing that you want and scrap anything that you don't.
Just a follow-up question there. As long as we credit NCS on your resources, can we put them into the Confident Choices resources that we're pulling together? So we're looking to pull together different resources and recommend them to schools. You're happy for us to do that as long as we give you credit?
I'm not. I need to double check that before I give a final answer. One of the, as I said, one of the reasons this is free to everyone is that we've been sort of paid for by government already to run some of this, but in return we have to report back how many young people this is supporting and who this is getting out to. So we definitely be able to share examples of the activities and maybe some more information with it and sort of signpost it so that people can get in touch with us. But we do have a bit of a data collection requirement from government that we need at the minute. The setup is that people need to get in touch with us to let us know how they're planning to use it, and then we can share the resources directly. But I'd be really keen on finding how much can we share so that people can get interested in it and make a good judgment on it before we have to sort of report back about it.
That's fine. I understand that. I thought it was worth asking the question.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think, Richard, just to add, I think what would be great if I set up kind of an email chain between yourself and Stephen so that you can have that conversation as well. Once kind of Stephen's found the answer to that question, and we can take it from there if that's all right.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that'd be useful. Thank you.
Well, any other questions from anybody? No, I don't think so. So just to finish off, thank you everyone for your time today. If you do have any questions, please do get in touch with us via the education@ncstrust.org.uk, or if you've got my email, just drop me an email. I'm sure this recording is going out to everybody, but if you do have any questions, please do get in touch. But again, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a great evening.